Well, first and foremost, I want to say a huge thank you to the Gospel Voices of OC. Woo! What a great way to call ourselves to this time, and it is especially meaningful because the Gospel Voices of OC are part of the Arts and Learning Conservatory that was founded by Deborah Wondercheck. Deborah, you want to just wave, and we're so grateful to have you here today. And Arts and Learning Conservatory is one of the initial grantees of our African American Alliance Fund, and we haven't been able to be together to celebrate this. This fund was established by my beloved partner, COO Tammy Tumbling, on the very auspicious moment of Juneteenth 2020. And since that time, the fund has grown to over $500,000, which is like extraordinary. And now includes 50 grantees and community partners. So if you're here and you have been a partner or a grantee of the African American Alliance Fund, would you stand up so we can thank you for your work and recognize you? To me, this is the most perfect demonstration of the mission of a community foundation when someone, and it happened to be my partner who is in the office right next to mine, came to me and said, you know, I feel moved to do something in this moment. And the move that I want to make is to strengthen our Black communities in Orange County and in the region, and is there a way I can do that? And then that vision became this incredible reality, and we haven't been together since that happened, so I'm so grateful to get to share the little bit of that story today. Well, I think it's already clear that I'm Shelley Haas, but I'm supposed to say that so they can change the slide. And if it wasn't obvious, it's now obvious in the building size slides that will be up too often for my pleasure today. But somebody asked me, how many annual meetings is this for you, OCCF annual meetings? 23rd OCCF annual meeting. I'm still learning. I always feel like next year will be even better because we learn every time. But it has been the greatest privilege of my professional life to serve the mission of the Orange County Community Foundation in partnership with all of you, donors, community leaders, nonprofit folks, and it just is so even more precious to me after missing this time of being together over the last several years. But when I always try to set an intention for the time that we're going to be together, and my hope for all of us, including myself in it, is that we leave here feeling inspired and in good company with others who are working to grow the good in our community, in our country, in the world. We are in good company. This room is good company, right? Can you just feel the good, right? I mean, this is a room full of people who are transforming their passion, their visions, their ideas into good for our community, not because they have to, but because they choose to. And that includes those of us who've chosen this work as our profession. It includes the incredibly generous philanthropists without whose effort and time and resources, none of the rest of it works. Those are all choices, right? Every single day we make a choice to show up to our work, to show up to the good we're doing in our community. And this is a room full of 400 people that are making that choice every day. And I just don't know, honestly, what is better than that, except for the fact that Bill Podlick is here in his Santa pants. So this is why I never take the script writing too seriously, because you never know what's gonna move you in the moment. And then but I always get back on track. My dear marketing team is all new, mostly, and hasn't been through this before. I'm like, it's all right. I always come back. Which I'm going to do right now, just seamlessly, as if I wasn't also narrating for you what I was doing, because I'm just never going to get more polished, am I? I'm just going to show up and just whatever comes out of my mouth, that's just what's happening. Guess that did not get burned out of me in the pandemic. With that complete nonsense and non sequitur, it is my great pleasure to welcome an incredibly impressive, dynamic duo who will do a much better job of staying on script than I have. And those two folks are our board chair, Dan Bolar, and our executive vice president and COO, Tammy Tumbling. Dan has more than 30 years of experience working with high net worth individuals with tax and financial planning, business structuring, and transactional consulting. Prior to his current role at Armanino, Dan was a tax partner with the Orange County office of Deloitte. But my favorite credential of Dan's, until he gets some Santa pants, so you might want to look into that, is that he has served on our board for 8 years, blending his finance and accounting acumen with a deep and heartfelt commitment to our community. I don't know if those always go together, but they certainly do, with Dan and every other CPA that's involved with this. I am super thrilled to be continuing my close partnership with Dan. He is entering his second year as our board chair, and I'm very excited for what we'll accomplish in the year ahead. And with Dan is my, as I said, beloved partner, Tammy, who joined us as Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer 3 years ago, of course, in perfect timing, 6 months before, the onset of this global pandemic. So it's not exactly the first year that either she or I were envisioning, but I certainly cannot imagine having had to weather the last 3 years without her. So please help me welcome Dan Bolar and Tammy Tumbling.
Welcome to all of you. When I was looking at my notes, and we had the script book up in front that we're supposed to follow, I was reading Shelley's just to be reminded of what her comments were so that I wouldn't repeat any of them, knowing after 8 years that Shelley would say nothing that was in the script. So you took a couple of my lines, but you're going to make my role much easier. I also want to add my welcome to all of you. This room, who is that guy? That guy looks much better. I want that board. I want to look like that. That's my board picture from 8 years ago. I don't know what happened, but it's not the community foundation that did it. It's the rest of work. We talked about who's in this room, how important all of you are, wherever you are in your journey of philanthropy, whether you're a giver, whether you're on a board, whether you're a leader at a not-for-profit partner, whether you're an up-and-coming leader, whether this is the first time you've been at our annual meeting or the 23rd time, where it's so nice to have you all here. And I have got, for those of you who are on boards, I have got the best board gig in Orange County. Think about it. This is an organization that is healthy, that is well-run, that does nothing but try to thoughtfully give your money away to the right organizations, and it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. So it is my honor and privilege. When Paul Heeshan, I don't think Paul's here today, asked me to consider joining the board, it was the easiest yes of all time. One of the things that makes our organization work so well and makes my job so much easier and so much fun is our board. The first comment I have is that is probably the best looking not-for-profit board in all of Orange County, if not of all of Southern California. These are a bunch of talented, caring, passionate, giving people, and there's a lot of people on that board that are much more powerful than I am, I guarantee it, but everybody checks their ego at the door, and it is just wonderful. So if I could ask not only board members that are here today, but I think there's 10 former board members. If I could ask current board members and former board members in the room, please stand for a round of applause. Thank you. I'd also like to say hello to my fellow board officers, our Vice Chair, Rashid Chamtier, who's from Deloitte, and our Finance Chair and Secretary from Gibson, Dunn & Crutcher, John Williams. These are talented professionals at the top of their game, but they're also two of the most caring, thoughtful, ego-checked at the door people I've ever met, and even better, The three of us and Shelley Haas meet quarterly, in addition to all the other normal meetings you would do, at John's house, John Williams' house. He's also a sommelier and a whiskey expert. So we don't often get much work done at those board officers' meetings, but we have a nice time. No, we get work done too. Shelley, see, I went off script just like you do. So I'd also like to welcome, we have 3 fabulous new board members that have joined since last time around. I'd like to introduce them. Joanna Kong, who's the Executive Director of the Sun Family Foundation, Kristen Monson, who's a retired PIMCO executive, and Bob Whalen, who is a very successful public finance attorney at Straddling Yucca. A little trivia, Bob Whalen, his wife Kristen, our 2 sons, Elliot and Jeff, were born at the same day at Hoag Hospital. We didn't know that for 12 years later when we met. But I used to brag, if you've ever been a board or joined a law firm or an accounting firm, you have these start groups. So I always had believed that our start group at OCCF, the 4 of us that began at the same time, was the best start group ever at OCCF. But these 3 people are going to give us a run for their money. So welcome to the 3 of you. In addition to doing good work, to trying to fulfill our mission, to serving all of you, the funnest thing I get to do as the board chair, I have the privilege of meeting with Shelley Haas monthly. And Shelley is, for those of you who know her, she's one of the most talented leaders, whether you're in the profit or the not-for-profit world. You can probably tell about Shelley's, Shelley's a hoot. Let's put it that way. So I look forward to meeting with Shelley every month. And Shelley, we do get work done. I know we do get work done. But to work with somebody with such vision and operational knowledge, but also with such passion and, most importantly, joy for her work and what we're trying to do at the Community Foundation is just a privilege. So again, thank you for letting me be before you for this 3 or 4 minutes. I get to introduce Tammy next. Wait. So Tammy and I talked specifically about how my navy, and what color is that? Navy and maroon would look together, and I think we look fabulous. So, Tammy, we are so glad, I'm looking at Gaddy here, because I am so glad that you said yes to our offer 3 years ago. It is a privilege to work with you and have you be part of our leadership team.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Again, I'm Tammy Tumbling. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Orange County Community Foundation by way of 21 years at Southern California Edison. That's why he's looking at Gaddy, because Gaddy was one of my bosses. And I think we have Southern California Edison in the house again today, who's also supported the African American Alliance Fund. So thanks, you guys. It's still Edison. It's still an Edison family. I want to just kind of give you information about what we're doing in the future of Orange County Community Foundation. So under the leadership of Shelley Haas, our OCCF team has done diligent work that ties back to all of our Strategic Vision 2024 roadmap for the future, which focuses on some key areas that I want to share with you today. Because a lot happens, but it happens through a lot of work and strategy. And the first one is delivering an unparalleled donor experience. And that donor experience is personalized and high touch. It allows our donors to give to organizations in the most impactful way, but they also can give either in Orange County, across the country, and as you heard Shelley said earlier, or across the nation or across the world. We want to also attract a pipeline of engaged, passionate, and diverse donor base, which reflects both the present, but also the future of Orange County. We want to make sure that we're growing them from younger generations up to the generations that are here now. Leveraging our close relationships with donors is also important to us. But how many community partners are in the room? I see a lot of community partners and community leaders as well. That's equally as important to us. And that's because we can create opportunities for innovative and creative problem solving for the issues that are in Orange County. And from a foundational level, we are committed to some operational things that I also want to share. Advanced technology is important to us. We're recently rolling out Salesforce. How many of you have Salesforce at work or wish you had it? Well, we're almost there. We're almost there. So advanced technology is important for us, but also diversity, equity, and inclusion. So when you look around the room, we're really excited to see the diversity that Shelley has led to bring into OCCF by way of our board and staff and our donors. And then also, strong financial acumen is important to us. So you'll hear from Tracy in a few moments, who's one of my bestest friends at OCCF. We're almost like twins. We look a little different, but we're twins. If you call me Tracy, I will answer. When you call her Tammy, she answers most of the time. Depends on the issue. And what I brought from Southern California Edison to OCCF is the focus on operational excellence. So we also think about that as well when we are moving through all of our strategic initiatives. But most importantly, it's the people. We can't bring our 2024 vision to full fruition without a healthy work culture and also with the invaluable skills of our OCCF talented team. So they're somewhere here, and they're also in the room. If you guys could wave and let everyone see where you are. If you could please join me in thanking our OCCF staff and leadership team. So we're committed. We're committed to attracting and retaining top talent at OCCF. And guess what? We feel that we've achieved that goal when we look around the room and we see the work that our staff has done. So at this time, I definitely want to again thank and introduce our dynamic team. And you'll hear more and you'll see them as you're talking to them at the tables. So thank you again for joining us. We look forward to continuing to walk with each of you as we further embark upon our transformational journey to 2024. I'm trying so hard to stay on script because not everybody can go off script up here and we get you guys out on time, but I am super excited to have the privilege to introduce our incredible Chief Financial Officer. And remember, that's my buddy, Tracy Tammy, or Tammy Tracy, Tracy Branson, and Finance Chair and Secretary John Williams. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about both of them. For more than 30 years, Tracy has used her accounting superpowers to ensure that OCCF serves as an impeccable steward of our charitable assets that have been entrusted to us. From joining us in her infancy to her recent honor as the Orange County Business Journal Nonprofit CFO of the Year, Tracy's eagle eyes are one of our greatest assets. And she finds everything, you guys. Don't try to ever, don't hide, you can't hide a thing. John Williams is a partner in Gibson, Dunn & Crutcher's Orange County office, where he has spent more than 30 years as a member of their mergers and acquisitions and private equity practice groups. As an active member of his community, John has served as a board member and volunteer with a number of local nonprofits, including Ocean Institute, Boys and Girls Club of Capel Valley, and UC Irvine's School of Social Services. So at this time, please join me in welcoming Tracy and John to the stage.
Thank you, Tammy. I'm delighted to be here. I'm actually really delighted to see all our former board members. It's really exciting for me since I've been here for over 30 years, so I've experienced all of them, so it's super exciting. And I'm delighted to present this year's numbers of the financial report with John, because it clearly demonstrates Orange County's commitment to meeting the challenges our community has faced, especially over the past few years. Our annual report will arrive in your mailboxes in just a few weeks. In the meantime, we're going to walk through some of the highlights today. You can access a sneak peek through the QR code that's in our program, and also they'll be sending a link later on today. The passion for giving is demonstrated by our donors is truly inspiring, and they've amazed us again by granting over $76 million to organizations in fiscal year 2022. The generosity of our community has made OCCF the third most active grant maker in the community foundation field. And what that means is, based on the size of our assets, only 2 community foundations grant more per year than we do, which is a fabulous statistic. The incredible generosity over the years has brought OCCF's cumulative grant making to $906 million. So, yeah, and what that means to us is we're on track. We set a goal nearly 5 years ago to reach $1 billion in granting by our 35th anniversary, and we're on track. With the $906 million, we're on track to make that $1 billion goal. I got all the fun stuff. Thanks to the incredible partnership we have with all of those who are part of the OCCF family, we are well on our way. Thank you for all you do to grow the good in Orange County and beyond, our extraordinary donors and nonprofits alike. And now, to continue the story, over to John.
Thank you, Tracy. This is my first time having an opportunity to address the annual meeting. And earlier this week, Shelley made all of us attend an afternoon session so that we make sure we all knew the script. I had no idea the script was a suggestion as opposed to what we were supposed to talk about. So I'm going to take just a few minutes to talk about something that's critically important to us as an organization, and that's the stewardship of the assets of our donors. I'm pleased to report that OCCF has now reached over $500 million in charitable assets. This confirms OCCF's position as one of the largest and fastest growing community foundations in the nation, ranking in the top 7% in assets among more than 780 community foundation peers. One of the most important aspects of OCCF's stewardship is our diligent investment oversight. Strong investment performance not only protects charitable assets for the benefit of our community, but it also allows that impact to grow over time. OCCF fulfills this responsibility through a stellar investment committee. This investment committee is chaired by my colleague, Paul Westhead, and he's supported by our independent advisors at Cambridge Associates. The results of their work speak for themselves, with returns over the past 3, 7, and 10-year periods ranging from 7 to 8% on an annualized basis. This is our very tangible way of growing the good. Through both the good years and the challenging ones, we are incredibly proud to faithfully steward Orange County's charitable resources. It is our privilege to be your partners in philanthropy. And now, I'll hand the podium back over to Shelley. But I'm taking the script with me.
I figure people could just be surprised when they show up and realize maybe it wasn't quite what I had presented it as. Well, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you to Dan, to Tammy, Tracy, and John. This Fab Four is truly the best of the head and the heart, and they really set the curve for us, and so grateful for all of their partnership. Well, I get to talk about something so fun right now. We have not publicly announced this. We saved it for you, all of our best friends and family. One of the most inspiring examples that I have seen in my tenure of the generosity of this community grew out of an idea that we had when we were celebrating our 25th anniversary year in 2014 and 15. And we thought, well, you know, maybe this is an opportunity for us to give a gift to the Orange County community. And what if we, you know, feel like one of the core parts of our mission is bringing people together? Maybe we could bring folks together to show their love for Orange County nonprofits on a single day of giving. We'd seen other community foundation peers that had hosted these giving days, and we thought, let's jump in and try this in Orange County. How that one-time experiment has grown and the promise it holds for the future is just beyond anything we could have imagined in the beginning. Announcing today is that a huge milestone that our iheartOC Giving Days have accomplished, and we get to share something with you. I'm so grateful. Our friends from Reveille, who've been our longtime friends and partners in this work, gave a gift of this video to capture the journey of the iheartOC Giving Day. So let's watch together.
Together, we are moving Orange County forward, helping pave the way for nonprofits to thrive and for donors to support the causes closest to their hearts, making a difference, improving lives, lifting up our most vulnerable neighbors in need. With your support and partnership, the Orange County Community Foundation has had the honor of fulfilling this mission since our founding in 1989. In celebration of our 25th anniversary in April 2015, we invited the Orange County community to come together on a single day to give where your heart lives. And the response was astonishing. From there, the spirit of collaboration fostered in our first Giving Days blossomed into an entirely new approach. An ongoing series of annual collaborative giving days where nonprofits with shared missions join hands to lift one another up and raise funds together on behalf of those they serve. These collaborative giving days are raising the bar and expanding their impact exponentially each year, which has led to a historic moment in OC giving. In November 2022, we reached the incredible milestone of $20 million raised for local nonprofits through iheartOC Giving Days. $20 million, a transformative accomplishment to be sure, but this is just the beginning. Each year we learn more, improve outreach strategies, and see our local nonprofits grow by leaps and bounds in their ability to leverage this unique giving platform. As we celebrate this accomplishment, we can't wait to see what the future holds. When Orange County puts its passion into action, there's no telling where the momentum for growing the good will lead.
And of course, we cannot talk about Giving Days without mentioning Carol Ferguson. Where's Carol? I've lost her. Where's Carol? Where's Carol? Right over here. Who was the champion from day one in 2014 when we started planning the first day, and she has carried the banner of Giving Days every day since. So this incredible total of 48 Giving Days, it probably feels like that's how many years have been added to your life in that process. More than 40,000 unique donors and $20 million mobilized by and for local nonprofits. It's really just astonishing. And that's on top of the other benefits of the opportunity to collaborate, to utilize social media, to get comfortable with the online giving tools. So we think the gift to the participating nonprofits isn't just the fundraising success, but a lot of the capacity that's been grown along the way. And we definitely can't wait to see what the future holds, because we feel like we're still just getting warmed up. So we'll watch that tote board continue to go up over the years. So now I am delighted to really turn a two very exciting parts of the program over to my colleague, Kathleen Otero, our Senior Vice President for Donor and Community Engagement. She's going to give us a sneak peek at a new initiative and then take us into a fabulous discussion. So, Kathleen.
Great, thank you, Shelley. We know that Orange County has a rich history and a diverse cultural landscape. It's also a community of many contrasts. Incredible resources and economic opportunities exist here, but juxtaposed with barriers that prevent many from full participation in the economic and civic life of our region. Our newest initiative was developed to address these challenges head on. I am proud today to introduce the Orange County Social Justice Fund. This fund was created through the vision and generosity of Keith Swayne, with the aim of an Orange County where all residents have equal economic, civic, and social rights and opportunities. Fundamental to the fund's vision are three key values: diversity is an asset, moving toward unity, and creating local impact. Let's hear Keith tell the story in his own words.
We officially launched the Orange County Social Justice Fund in August of this year, with our money being moved from our donor advised fund into the hands of the Community Foundation in this Field of Interest Fund. And in September, we made our first round of decisions on grantees, and shortly 25 nonprofits in Orange County will be receiving a total of $400,000 as our first year with the fund. Our philanthropy through our donor advised fund was moving more and more towards social justice issues. But the truth is, our awareness of the needs in the county are somewhat limited just by we don't have that broad a perspective on it. So it came to me that, if I really want to do this, if I really want to have it have a permanent effect, be a legacy, have an impact, I need to find a different way to do it. And what's the different way to do it? Utilize the Community Foundation for that purpose. And that led to our deciding to take a significant part of our donor advised fund, give it to the Community Foundation for the purpose of establishing a field of interest fund focused solely on social justice. And my hope is that this will not only be more effective in utilizing the funds that we put there, but that it will attract other funders to do this, join us in this cause. It'll call more attention to the social justice issues that need to be addressed in our county, and that will, over time, have a meaningful impact on Orange County and making it be a community that's inclusive of all people, regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, or any other characteristics. I moved to Orange County when I was 10 years old. At that time, Orange County had a population of 250,000 people. And it was predominantly a white population. Today, we have close to 3.5 million people in Orange County. We're one of the most diverse counties in the country. Santa Ana, I believe, is the fourth most densely populated city in the United States. The dynamics, social dynamics in this county now are dramatically different than they were when I was a young child. Those issues need to be addressed. We need to make this county inclusive of all people who live here. And my hope is that this fund will be a step. It's not going to be the end all for this, but that it's a step in the direction of accomplishing that, and that it will attract other funders to see that if we are going to be a strong, thriving county, which we all want, then we have to be a county that accepts everyone and sees the diversity as a strength, not as a weakness and a challenge. My hope is that over a reasonable length of time, this fund will grow to be in excess of $10 million, and that its impact on the county will continue into perpetuity, and that we will, in fact, move the county more in the direction of being inclusive and accepting of all people who live here, to give everyone the opportunity to have a fulfilling life at whatever level of potential they can achieve.
Thank you, Keith, for your vision, generosity, and courage. So we're very excited that we'll be announcing the first round of grants shortly and sharing more information about the future plans for the fund in the coming months. And now, I have the pleasure of sharing an update on a project that the Orange County Community Foundation began in 2012. ConnectOC took a hard look at the myths and misconceptions about life in Orange County and suggested ways that we could move the needle to improve life for those who call Orange County home. It focused on 3 critical issues: the health and wellness of our community, the education of our youth, and protecting our most vulnerable through the safety net. These were the 3 critical issues that existed 12 years ago that are still issues today. Developed by the Orange County Community Foundation with the support of McKinsey & Company, ConnectOC surfaced local knowledge vital to our county's well-being and suggested strategies and opportunities to make life better for our community. Now we are in the process of refreshing this data 10 years later for fresh insights into where we have improved and areas of ongoing concern. Now, for those of you who are seated at your table and have the program handy, you can take a look at the QR code and feel free to access that to stay updated for the information that we share today, as well as for additional information that will be forthcoming. But to give a preview today, you all get to have a special insight preview of the findings, and I am pleased to introduce to the stage Dr. Wallace Walrod and Paul Kagoo.
Pleasure to be here. Oh, good seeing you. Good to see you. First, the good news. I mean, with the biggest issue in health and wellness in our nation is healthcare costs and the associated, issues with access to healthcare, right? And so, good news is that we've actually steadily improved nationwide. In fact, in 2012, when we looked at the data, Orange County in California was worse off than the nation in terms of insurance rate, access to healthcare. And we've done tremendous progress nationwide, but also we've sort of we're doing better than the nation and the state itself, right? The state also has improved. So that's tremendous improvement, right? And the other good news is access to healthcare for children. Even one child not having access to health insurance is bad, but today about 4% of children don't have health insurance. But programs like Medi-Cal have definitely helped a lot. But there's always a but, right? And Keith just talked about some of the things. So disparities indeed exist, right? So if you look at whether it's based on race, educational outcomes, or your income level, right? There's serious disparities that exist, and I know the community overall, but we ourselves in the foundation, we're doing a lot of work. The workforce development initiative, the racial and ethnic equity work that we have. Hopefully that'll address, Keith, your new effort as well. Hopefully all of that will help us for sure. But one thing I want to talk about is there's a brewing concern that we have in Orange County, in the nation in general, about mental health, right? And especially among children and youth. Before the pandemic and even now, adult hospitalizations for mental health and substance abuse have remained relatively steady. But those for children and youth have bucked this trend, right? Which is pretty tremendous, that you can see that the numbers are going up. And obviously the pandemic was one of the reasons, of course. But then our friends at CHOC say it was a growing trend already before then, which is we have to seriously think about that, right? So in fact, the problem is this bad that just in the last fiscal year, more than 700 children were admitted into the 18-bed facility, right, at CHOC. So that's pretty dramatic, right, just for our county as well. There's also been a tremendous need for mental health services, either standalone mental health services or services as part of your primary health care as well. Right? There's a tremendous increase in need for it, and it's something that we need to address. Our friends at CHOC say more than 30% increase just since the pandemic through June in terms of what they've seen as mental health issues. Right? So what does this mean? So, when CHOC did a survey recently, 80% of service providers, 65+% of medical providers, and then about 50% of the community felt that mental health is a serious issue for us. Right? So much so that many organizations, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, have declared it to be a mental health crisis nationwide. Right? Certainly something for us to think about, and and so when CHOC dug into it a little bit, there are the obvious issues of the pandemic worsening it, lack of access to the community, isolation within the family, all of those things. But that is not the only reason. Right? We can't blame everything on the pandemic. So some of the survey results seem to indicate that school safety, for example, a sense of reduced safety in schools, increased violence in the community, that the perception of an increased violence in the community, lack of connectedness, especially among marginalized children, LGBTQ or minority children, that also impacts sort of their, right? And then of course, I have a 9-year-old, and the screen time, it's like the self-reported increase in screen time and social media usage, right? That certainly contributes to the issues that we face today. So, what also I think we all need to remember and kind of go out is that when children have chronic diseases like diabetes, that apparently increases the prevalence of mental health issues 2 to 5x. Right? Again, something that I think our healthcare partners are educating us on, but like for the rest of the community, we have to sort of take that forward, right? What can we do? Our friends at CHOC and other partners of them, other healthcare institutions in Orange County are raising the alarm. They are raising awareness, but that sort of becomes our responsibility, right? Raising awareness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The need is so great. You've outlined, I think, we've made progress, but there's still a lot of things to do. And just in the context of the ConnectOC refresh, we still have a lot of work to do to understand this issue and then the other issues that we'll talk about. And on this particular one, I think what we need to drill down on are, the role of racial equity in these numbers and understanding that to a greater degree. The lingering effects of the pandemic, it's still being felt in the healthcare system. And then finally do a much deeper dive into mental health and find out what the drivers are of that. And I know that OCCF has been thinking about this. And Kathleen, can you tell us what sort of the next steps are? How are you going to raise awareness about these issues?
Yeah, sure. And for others in the room, we're excited this year that we are beginning to partner with a group of nonprofit organizations interested in hosting a giving day on mental health next year. So, and we just saw the great results that our giving days have provided in raising funds for nonprofit organizations throughout Orange County. We're hopeful that a giving day focused on mental health will not only raise awareness, but also provide support for our service providers as well. So more information will be forthcoming in the next year as we get the 2023 schedule lined up, but we're really excited to be doing that in partnership with our on-the-ground service providers.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
Well, so thank you, Paul, for sharing a preview of the health access and mental health data. And it's my turn now to get a chance to share some of the initial findings on the education data that we reviewed together. Now, we've all heard and seen the reports of the impact of the pandemic on the educational system throughout the country. And so we thought it important to take some time to do a deeper dive and see what were some of the trends and impacts here at home. One of the positive trends that we've seen in the last 10 years is the increased attention to early childhood education and school readiness. Now, thanks to the work of First 5 Orange County and their community partners, we've actually seen some really wonderful increases in school readiness across the county and some wonderful advancements in ensuring that children are ready for school. Now, this is important because we know that children who attend preschool are already ahead in terms of early reading and math skills, and that advantage translates through their education and into adulthood. In 2022, over half of Orange County's young children were considered ready for school. Now, while that is really good news, there are still some significant disparities that exist within neighborhoods in Central and North Orange County, as well as by race ethnicity when you look deeper into the data. And it's really these children, these communities, where we need to be thinking critically about how are we supporting early childhood education in a way that sets them up for long-term academic success. Another factor to consider here, though, is that most of these children aren't in formal preschool settings. They're in a variety of childcare settings that aren't necessarily equipped to enhance their school readiness and provide that early childhood education support. We also know that childcare is really expensive and has limited capacity in our region. So when we think about the fact that 60% of Orange County's young children come from homes where all of the parents are working, we really need to look critically at childcare and what childcare providers are able to offer in terms of early childhood readiness, and the fact that there just really aren't enough slots to begin with for our youngest children. So while this is some really great news in terms of the increases in early childhood education and school readiness, there is still a lot of work yet to be done to close the gap for Orange County children. Now, from school readiness, the next major educational milestone is third grade reading level. And that's something where we've, again, heard a lot about learning loss due to COVID and remote and hybrid school settings. And while we do have to be careful about how we're looking at the outcomes now, because testing rates have varied in the last year due to COVID, but we are seeing a reduction in literacy rates for kids at the third grade level. And this is important to note because up through third grade, kids are just learning how to read, but after third grade, kids are reading to learn. And so it's really important that we pay attention to this in the coming years to make sure that this cohort of students doesn't get left behind. In contrast, it appears that the high school students were able to pivot a little more successfully to hybrid and remote learning versus their elementary and middle school counterparts, and that makes intuitive sense. And we see that having played out as well when we look at the graduation rates, Orange County's overall graduation rates, as well as the UC and CSU eligibility. You know, that's something where we've seen some incredible improvements over the last 10 years and even through the pandemic. And yet, as we look deeper into the data, we still have to acknowledge that there are some disparities that exist, whether you're looking at between schools districts, between cities, as well as economic, socioeconomic status and race ethnicity. There are disparities that we need to continue to look at. Now, Paul, looking at this data and then thinking about in contrast to the health and mental health data that you just shared, it still feels like there's just so much that we still need to learn.
Yeah, I think we need to dig deeper into sort of, what is the correlation between where you are with education and how can the school systems help with the mental health crisis? There's still, we see the disparities between ethnic groups and, is there a correlation? Is there a correlation to school districts and so on? And how can we sort of help? So yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of work to be done. And Wallace, I've heard you often talk about how education then affects the future of work as well, right? I mean, that sort of follows through as well. But before I do that, the one good news I've heard is that our friends at CHOC, along with OCD, are installing wellness spaces in schools right now to address that specific. So I think, encourage your community to invest in stuff like that, right? Because again, and please don't take this as this is the pandemic, right? So don't take it that way.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but we each have different styles with our notes. They both have iPad tablets, and Paul actually also has 3x5 cards. Maybe I don't know what that says about each of us, but maybe it's a function of me being the oldest. I have to have my good old notes here as a safety blanket, so I may be referring to these, but it's interesting. So yeah, COVID has fundamentally accelerated a lot of trends that were already happening, both in Orange County and globally. And there are a lot of implications in terms of the changing nature of workplaces and workforce as we go forward. Some of the implications, I think, for education are what are the skills you need in a more remote work hybrid environment? What are the true impacts of work from home trends going forward? How will education be delivered in the future? I mean, it's like a massive forced experiment for a couple of years of pivoting to online and remote. And that brings up issues about broadband and digital access and things like that. And then we also need to understand, as we get into the next section, the impact of educational attainment in Orange County and college prep, as Kathleen talked about, on poverty issues and on Orange County's cost of living factors. So we're segueing now to my section, which I'm going to talk about safety net. And one of the things I wanted to observe is how interconnected a lot of these things are, both the positive trends and the challenges. So as you can see here on the plus side, and if you get kind of, we talk about the positive stuff first, and then we talk about the challenges. On the plus side, Orange County really is an economic success story compared to the state and nation, and compared to all our peer counties in Southern California. It has really, our county has become the economic engine of Southern California. One way to know about that is the net number of people commuting into Orange County versus those commuting out is plus 200,000, and it's probably increasing over time. So 200,000 more people commute in each day than commute out. Great. Unemployment is consistently lower than the state and nation. You can see we're at 2.7% now. Income trends are above peers, not just the state and nation, but peer counties around here. Orange County is has the highest median household income. But as you can see, we have very many wealthy people in Orange County, but also very many poor people in Orange County, and those we would call the working poor. And it's something we really need to keep an eye on. Poverty, where you're making progress, that's down from 13% in 2015. So we're just below 10% now, but the progress is too slow. And unfortunately, too many children live in poverty. Although that's down from nearly 18% in 2015, that is obviously still too high. However, a lot of these positives mask the true story. And affordability has reached a crisis point for many Orange County families. So I talked about the good news. The next part may be a dose of reality to a lot of people in the audience. As you can see, one of the key takeaways is wages and income have simply not kept pace with the cost of living in Orange County. And that's primarily due to skyrocketing housing costs. And you can see that on the slide. The income needed to afford to buy an entry-level house has increased 157% since this was done back in 2012. And incomes have grown, so that's 3 times as fast as incomes have grown, which is around 50%. So therefore, only 29% of first-time homebuyers can afford an entry-level Orange County home. That was of the second quarter of 2022. And with inflation, subsequent inflation trends and Fed moves and their impact on mortgage rates, in my opinion, less than 20% of Orange County workers can now afford to buy an entry-level home in Orange County. That can't go on for very long, and I'll talk about some of the ramifications. That includes even tech industry jobs like software engineers and computer programmers. The average salary is below that $175,000. So even they cannot afford to buy a house. And we're not just talking about home ownership here, we're also talking about the rental market. The rental market has become much less affordable as well. Right now, to afford an average 1-bedroom in Orange County, if you're just one person, it would be $37 an hour that you would need to make. Obviously well above the pay level of a lot of the jobs that we have in Orange County. So this combination of wages not keeping up with housing costs and housing costs skyrocketing, Orange County has simply become much less affordable for younger residents and especially families. And what are the consequences? Somebody told me a lot of this is like a downer time, but this is reality for Orange County. We have more commuters, as I said, commuting in each day to work here. We have fewer young families and children here. I'll talk about that in a second. And the graduates of our education system that we've invested in are leaving after they graduate. In fact, Orange County's population peaked at about 3.2 million in 2018, and we have actually lost population since 2018 each year. We're down to 3.16 million. So we started out losing maybe 5,000 people. The last year we lost 20,000 people, so it seems to be accelerating. And those are mostly 25 to 44-year-olds who are leaving. And that's when you make decisions about where you're going to be long-term, where you're going to build a life, a career, and a family. And this is not just an Orange County problem, it's a California problem, because 75% of those, used to be, when I first started doing this, most of those people moved to the Inland Empire. 75% of those people are now moving out of state because California has just become unaffordable. We also have, because of this, declining birth rates and international migration, so it's just kind of a vicious cycle. It could create talent pipeline shortages, labor shortages going forward. So while we're kind of uniquely positioned to weather, any economic storm, we have a skilled, well-educated workforce. This is really our Achilles heel. And ensuring that residents of all income levels can both work and live in Orange County should be a major priority going forward.
This is a lot of information to process, Wallace. I mean, thank you so much for sharing that. But I think the big question here is, what's the upside? Like, what can be done? And you shared some of these demographic data, and I'm reminded of the quote that demographics are destiny. And this is kind of a dire forecast for Orange County. But one of the things that I really love about Orange County is that positive change is possible here. And we've seen that in the trends that we just looked at today in the education and the health data. But clearly that change needs to happen sooner rather than later to address some of these affordability and safety net issues.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I went before the chief economic advisor of the county. But no, I mean, I'm particularly impressed with some of the initiatives that I want to maybe quick highlight to our workforce development initiative that I know you both are working on. You guys let me work on it when I'm able to. But this is really interesting because I think 2 years back, the Community Indicators Report had this notion of middle skills where there's really a shortage of folks who are, they don't need to have a full-fledged 4-year degree, but it's like a middle skill that you need to have a certain level of training so that you can match that with the jobs available, because really jobs are available, people are unemployed, but no one could figure out why. And I think the Community Indicators Report did indicate it's that. And so this particular initiative, the workforce initiative, that seems like a really surgical way to address like a very specific issue to kind of make quick change, so much so that, Wallace, I know you were talking about this drone internship program that we've had a first graduate as well, which is fantastic, right? I mean, like somebody who, we helped them with that, and then she's now starting to work, I believe, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's first of its kind initiative in the country. And so in addition to the workforce initiative, two other things I want to mention are we need much more broad entrepreneurship programs to help young people start their own businesses. And CLO does a fantastic job of that. So I want to highlight CLO and their work in disadvantaged communities. And then another initiative that the Orange County Community Foundation is partnering on is childcare. There's a lack of supply, and childcare is just too expensive in Orange County. And so that partnership is with First 5 OC, the SBDC, and with CLO as well. So some initiatives that are starting to appear to address these really pressing safety net issues.
So Kathleen, what's next for OCCF? What are we focused on?
Well, we're still collecting and analyzing the data, and it's no surprise, though, that health, education, and safety net were issues 10 years ago that still exist as gap needs and opportunities today. We're looking to provide some additional updates on our website, so check out the QR code again and stay tuned for folks in the audience. And, but this whole process is really for the purpose of surfacing tangible projects that we want to invest in over the years, collecting information from partners and discussions, sharing that back with our donors and our funding partners so that we can create the next generation of our community initiatives and creating impact in Orange County. So with that, I want to thank Wallace and Paul for your time today. You've been such incredible partners on the ConnectOC refresh. And invite others to stay connected with us as we take our next steps. So turning it back over to you, Shelley.
Well, I want to say a huge thank you to Kathleen, Paul, and Wallace for oh my gosh, so much work went into that, and I just love, folks that just want to dig into the data. They get so excited, and they really worked hard to try to bring this up to a high level. And yes, it's great to celebrate accomplishments, but we're really here to be informed, to be inspired, to be ready to work where our efforts are needed. So Wallace, we're not mad at you for ending on maybe what felt like, a less exuberant topic, but it's really important. And if we can't tell the truth to each other about what is going on in our community, then I don't really know why we're all here. So we're ready to receive that information and to act on it. So we thank you so much for all of that. And oh my gosh, I don't want it to be, it has to be over. I only have 5 minutes, and I want to give you a chance to talk to each other, but I feel a little jealous of this time because it's like anything you plan for, forever, and then it comes and it's like, oh my gosh, it just went in the blink of an eye. But it was good, right? Yeah. Did we have a good day? I don't know. I feel kind of like, do you believe I get to work with all these people? Gosh. It is just a joy. And with all of you, the people I see every day and the people that we all see who are all of you in this room, because we're all partners in wanting to amplify and accelerate the impact that is needed in our community. And can we just have one more moment to acknowledge Keith Swayne, who I can barely look at without... Keith texted me on the morning of his birthday, which I know is May 31st because it's my son's birthday as well. And he said, I have an idea. I know what mark I want to leave. And again, just like Tammy's call to me in June of 2020, to know that we get to hold the place of being a part of people's stories, of all of your stories, and of helping you realize and manifest and move the incredible generosity that's in your heart is just the greatest honor, honestly, to do this work with you every day. With that, all I want to say is may we all go forth filled with this sense of the good company that we are in, the good trouble we're getting in together, the good that we are moving forward. And as we go into this holiday season, may we bring that love forward and that vision and that hope, because there is so much more to celebrate than there is, right? To worry over. I'm a class A worrier, so I can work up a good set of concerns, but none of it holds a candle to when I look in this room and I see the resources that we have to bring to bear, even to those daunting statistics in health and education and safety net. To me, I think those problems don't stand a chance because Orange County is on the job. Deeply love and appreciate all of you. Thank you for coming when we had this, and God bless everybody. Thank you so much.